What's good, YouTube? Steel here, and Extra Dimensional Crisis introduced 5 expert solo battles, and we will be taking on the third one in Lycanroc EX while completing the task of only using lightning type Pokemon. If you're looking on how to beat Lycanroc with no trainers, I already did a separate video on that, which I will link down below. Before we begin, I'd like to ask y'all to please consider subscribing, as we post all things Pokemon Pocket, from expert solo battle guides like this one to competitive Master Ball level deck breakdowns and gameplay. In other words, whether you solely play casually or a tryhard like myself, there is something for you on this channel. Nonetheless, thank you for watching, and let's take a closer look at Lycanroc EX. On paper, this is a very interesting card. It's searchable by its basic form. It's a healthy amount of 150 HP is rather respectable, and 130 damage is on par with some of the strongest Pokemon in the game. Essentially, it has the same HP and damage output as Giratina. However, one key issue is having the 3 energy requirement with no inherent ramp in the fighting type outside of like Brock, which is only for my boy Onyx and Golem, so that doesn't even count. Thus they have to resort to using Passimian EX, which doesn't like speed up in any way. It's just a good way of like conserving the Lycanroc while still essentially applying pressure, but it doesn't it doesn't add to the speed, and it also requires to give up 2 points to your opponent, or in this case they're giving 2 points to us. And with that said, I like to divide the list into 2 categories: Lucario and Irrelevant. Quite frankly, Lightning only gives us access to like the biggest silver bullet in expert solo battles, Oricorio. Thus the only real threat that we have to face is the Riolu Lucario line, which honestly, once you establish an Oricorio, they do tend to like react and start building up a Riolu Lucario if they haven't already. Although realistically, the only time they effectively build up a Lucario and might give you some issues is when they brick essentially and don't have Rockruff or Passimian, and thus are forced to add energy early to the Riolu. Otherwise, they tend to focus on building up Passimian and or Lycanroc before they start building up Riolu. But once again, it comes down to have you established the Oricorio, or if you have it in your bench. If you have it on your bench, they don't tend to like recognize it. At least that's been my personal experience. Aside from that, another thing to note from this list is the lack of Repel or Sabrina. In other words, once you have Oricorio established, they have no way of removing it from the active as long as your board is healthy, because they do play the 1 Cyrus. But again, if you start with Oricorio or you just have Oricorio up front and they haven't built up Lucario, they have like 0 to no answers. When looking at the list we'll be using for this challenge, it resembles very closely to the Tapu Koko EX list that the solo battle uses, as our Pokemon lineup is essentially, or no, it's exactly the same. However, we adjusted the trainer lineup to better fit the challenge. Red and Geo are there to make sure we can reach certain damage ranges that can make the task far more consistent and not solely reliant on just sitting on an Oricorio. As you'll see from the replays, we actually find winning positions without having to resort to Oricorio, and more importantly, we need to be able to adapt if they do in fact just build up a Lucario. Sabrina serves multiple purposes, as it could clearly swap the active Pokemon in the event that we're just trying to close out the game. But when it comes to like Operation Protect Oricorio, it could also buy us some time by just sending the Lucario into the backline or just out of the way. Dawn and Electrical Cord both serve as ways to manipulate energy and keep the pressure going, and primarily it's just to ensure that we have a Pikachu EX that will be ready to attack and back up anything that they knock out, as the Pikachu EX tends to be the nail in the coffin as it one-shots everything on their side. Last but not least, we're also playing Cape as essentially the opposite of what Red and Geo are doing, as Red and Geo are making sure we hit certain rages. Cape makes sure that we survive certain rages. As always, there's 2 example games that show the deck in action, which give you a better look into how the deck is supposed to function. Far better look than like words ever could. Hopefully this list works for you as well as it did for me. Thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and above all else, stay pro. Alright, going first, which is probably not ideal unless we draw into Zeraora, or however you pronounce that guy. Yeah, we'll set up the board on our turn. I mean, like, once we play out the turn. Alright, Electrical Cord is fine. I'm doing research first because Zeraora is like the ideal draw here. There's either... it's not really guaranteed here. We did get there though. Okay. Let's go here, here. And they're not playing Mars or Red Card, so we don't have to worry about putting our hand down fully. Technically, we could have held Tapu Koko or something, but... Communication is interesting. I wonder what the AI's like mentality on using communication is. Alright, I got Rockruff, Passimian. Honestly, in games like this, if they're not setting up Lucario and you don't see them about to attack with Lucario, Oricorio is just like GG's basically. No reason not to. Realistically, it's what's gonna knock out Lycanroc. And yeah, technically we could have XP'd into Zeraora and start attacking, but to what end? We know they have the Lycanroc that they could evolve into, so we just gotta take it easy. The only thing we're worried about, like is right there. As you can see, at this point, it's very unlikely that they build it up. As for why red's in the build, it's because like it's the perfect curve for Tapu Koko to knock out Passimian, but you never know. It's definitely, you could swap it out for Dawn. A second Dawn would also be like beneficial in this list. Again, we're not forced to put anything down until they start building this up. Alright. Are they going to put an energy on it, though? Nope. X speed. Okay, so they're going to swap into Passimian. Double X speed, so they're going to retain their energy as well. Not that it matters, but... And they love attacking to it anyways. They'll build up Lycanroc and attack with it as well. Very odd, like, choices. At this point, it's a little awkward, but at the same time, not anything impossible. They don't play Sabrina or Repel, so we're just stuck in this situation until they react or like adapt, but they're not going to because it's not like an actual person. And I stand corrected. Maybe they realize that. All right, in practice, they never did this. That's why it kind of throws me off. Technically, next turn they could swap into this Riolu and swing for 80. So now is when we might swap things around. What's the best way to go about it? Probably give Tapu Koko some kind of energy. Swings for 60. The mentality is if this Riolu comes in and swings for 80, what do we want in the front, right? We could also sacrifice the one Oricorio. This is sort of like a learning experience between all of us, mainly because usually they don't do this. Like, this is like new to me, but I'm glad it happened to me, so y'all see it in action. And also, that's the advantages of recording this before the actual deck profile, so now I can mention this in the deck profile. Granted, it might be redundant because I'll explain the deck profile and then I'm explaining it now, but there's advantages to everything. Realistically, if we Tapu Koko, they have no way of building up anything. Yeah, so we'll just go Tapu Koko for 90. And we'll react to whatever they build up. Definitely put the energy here. Definitely put it on Oricorio. I think it's just swing for 90, right? There's no science to this. There's no swing coming from their end next turn. Yeah, alright. We'll react to what they do from here. Let's see here. Okay, you see, and was this the game where? Because I played quite. Yeah, they already used their X speeds. This Passimian can't go anywhere. It can't attack. They're not playing Dawn, so it's not like they could do some. Even then, it would have maxed out at like what 80 damage, 100, which is still fine with us. And we just close it out like that. Again, this is one of those solo battles that only requires doesn't require 3 diamonds or less. It's either a specified type, which in this case is all lightning, or no trainers. I already have a video for the no trainer ones, which I probably mentioned again before. But as always, we do multiple examples to show you how this list works. And honestly, Tapu Koko EX or the Tapu Koko build, maxing out the Oricorios is probably the best way to go about it. But as always, let's go to another example. Alright, this time we're going second, which is probably beneficial. It's probably for the best. We'll lead Tapu Koko because Zeraora wouldn't be able to attack. Again, they don't have Sabrina, Repels, Mars, Red. Technically, we would be able to hold the Zeraora, but... Alright, and this is probably their slowest lead. Not only are they going first, so they can't evolve like... Yeah, no, we're definitely ahead here. Going first is I mean, going second is huge in this matchup. It hadn't come up like where it mattered. As you can see, we won going first, so we're not worried about it, but... Alright, we got access to every card in the deck, basically. Plasma Hurricane, so... I wonder how they're going to play it out, because honestly, I think we're way too ahead for it to matter. And with Electrical Cord, we basically have the backup of Pikachu EX. Alright. Last game, they went double XP in this situation. We'll see what they do here. Just in case, we're probably going to play until Tapu Koko is knocked out, so... We'll Cord there. Yeah, so basically, if they don't get this Lycanroc out of the way, the game's essentially over. Yeah. We'll start building up Pikachu as like the follow-up as well. Yeah, Pikachu EX guarantees that we lock it out no matter, like, lock it up no matter what they do, because they don't have Guzma to remove the cord. Again, no Sabrinas, no Repels, so Tapu Koko is going to be up in the front until it gets knocked out. Once it gets knocked out, it feels the Pikachu, and Pikachu gets us the point no matter what they have on board, as their only Cape was already used, and the only thing that survives a Pikachu attack with Cape is, in fact, not sure what the math there was, is the Lycanroc, and we got rid of it already, so... If we had Dawn, we would have even been able to just close it out right here. Actually, we just Sabrina, right? Yeah, I don't know. I thought too... I was thinking too much about it. Too deep into it. It's rather simple. We just bring out the back, and it's GG's. So yeah, honestly, I wish it was like more exciting, more intensive. It's pretty straightforward. Oricorio makes it where you have a safety net, but as you can see, what really wins us the games is the combination of Tapu Koko and Pikachu. Like, Pikachu being able to one-shot essentially everything on their side is huge. Which is also why we're playing Red. Red with Pikachu makes sure that even if they have the cape on Lycanroc, we knock it out. But that's enough talking. Just end it. Regardless, thanks for watching. As always, if this helped you, please consider subscribing as we keep posting expert solo battles, Master Ball content. I started streaming on Twitch, so that link should be in the description as well. As always, thanks for watching, and above all else, stay pro.